chip on our shoulder that everyone knows. I stand with the faithful, the loud and the loyal, on Michigan soil where the battle lines coil. I pledge allegiance to the shield and the mane, through the lake effect, snow and the November rain. One nation under God, moving the chains, with the fire of the city coursing through our veins. Hey! Invisible spirit, above them will crack. We got the whole league's targets on our back. Watch the war room flicker, watch the vision take hold, turning late round flyers into Detroit gold. He's the master of the board, the dealer of the deck, putting every expert opinion in check. Put every expert opinion in check. He doesn't follow trends, he creates the hook. Quiet in the room, let Brad cook. To the trenches we swear, where the dirty work's done, where the game isn't played, it's physically won. I promise to roar till my vocal cords fray, to believe in the homes and the Brad chosen way. We don't want the flash, we don't want the glitz, just the hunters who thrive in the heart of the grit. Liberty from the cellar, and justice for the years of pain. No more same old lions, just the kings of the northern reign. I pledge my allegiance, my heart and my roar, to the team that we love and the team we adore. With kneecaps for breakfast and victory in sight, we're the Detroit Lions and we're winning tonight.
Well, this guy's been everywhere tonight. He got drilled by Jack Campbell again. Bam! Meets him right there, runs his feet. Jack Campbell who wraps him up. Doesn't get any better than that. Textbook linebacker play. What the f*** I'm talking about?
All right. Happy Sunday night, everybody. Hope y'all doing better than me. I hope y'all doing well, man. Hope your day's going well. Hope your weekend went well. Hopefully you got anything and everything you wanted to get done this weekend, because I know I certainly didn't. I even missed practice today, man. I missed practice today. I was really disappointed about that one. Didn't get an opportunity to spend the day with my dad and Megan and go to practice. But I'm going to try to make tomorrow. Definitely going Wednesday. And hopefully we'll see some of y'all out there. Until I haven't forgotten about you, just have not gotten an answer yet. Make sure I get that out of the way right away, because I haven't gotten an answer. And even if I don't get an answer, if I somehow get lucky, I'll make sure to take care of you, man. All right. So what the hell's going on with the Lions? Right? I guess that's the biggest question. What is going on right now? And you probably have no clue of what I'm talking about. And let me just go back to the intro. Thumb. Was that on there? Oh yeah. This just got complicated. That'll be part of today. Everything's complicated right now for the Lions on offense. Everything. Jameson Williams not at practice. And this whole musical chairs going on this offensive line has me a little bit concerned. And of course, we'll talk about that. I'll tell you what I mean and the information, kind of what's happened. Some of it you've probably already heard of. Some of the other things, maybe not so much. We'll go through that. We're going to break down at least today, and I probably have a little bit of yesterday. Lions did finally put out that press conference as soon as we hung up the stream yesterday. It came out like 10 minutes later. And there was one this morning from Dan, which I didn't watch yet. So I didn't watch. I've been busy all day just trying to get stuff done here and never had a chance to look at it, listen to it. I don't know why, because it was like dead silent in here forever. Probably should have. So I want to watch it. I want to see what he had to say because there's some other information that I had today. And I'm just curious how it matches up or if it doesn't match up. But I am concerned about the offensive line. I don't want to get overly concerned. Like I don't want to be all doom and gloom like the world's falling apart because it's not. But there's some things that just are not adding up right now, and I'll explain what I mean, and maybe it's just more the paranoia from the last couple of seasons, and how they've kind of gone down. But I feel like the path. Oh, that's not the right one. I feel like the path that the Lions are on right now is not great. Like it's not great. Where's today's, man? Where's today's press conference at? There it is. They put it up as a video. All right, let me get that up. Let me get the chat up. How you guys doing tonight? Let's see who's in here. You Polites in the house. What's happening? Cynthia, good to see you in here. Cruising, man. We'll ring you in, Cruising's in the house. Mike P's in the house somewhere. Major Payne. J-Rod, what's happening, man? Edge is not the answer. Is the best name ever. Best name ever, especially for this show. Damn, now you got extra tickets for tomorrow, Eric? I thought you needed tickets. That's awesome. You got extra, or was that for Wednesday? Let's see. So J-Rod, look, your statement is kind of where I'm at tonight with this whole thing, kind of what I'm going to talk about. So he says Scruggs will have to battle McLaughlin. Don't count Seth yet. Don't count out Seth yet. As far as Ratledge taking snaps, contingency plan, and we're going to come back to that because I think you're partially right, and I think that there's some other things brewing here that I don't like, flat out just don't like. Let me get Dan's press conference in here real quick. I feel like crap, man. I felt like crap really since yesterday. I planned on getting all this stuff done, and right after I was done with that live stream, I just felt like dog poo. Absolute dog poo. I think I lost too much weight too quick. I mean, I've been straight up on a damn near 90% liquid diet for over a month. 3 shakes and a steak, man. That's my new thing. 3 shakes and a steak. In the last week or so, I haven't eaten any steak. I got staked out. And that might have been a mistake. Oh, see what I did there? All right, Dan the Man, press conference today. I'm interested in what he had to say because information that I've learned, I think this offensive line is going to be interesting. It's going to, especially if they do anything close to what they did today, I think we're in trouble, flat out. All right, let's get Dan in here. Working on some cool graphics, by the way. I've been putting some things together for the next live stream. Might have a crossover this week with Commander's Pod. I don't know if he's messaged me back because I haven't even looked at social media all day, really. So, all right, here we go. Let's listen to Dan, and we'll break it down. Looks like it's about 12 minutes long. Let me see if I can speed that up just a little bit. About 10%. Let's bump up the old quality. Oops. And here we go.
Back in pads, a lot of call-it periods, some move the ball. So really, not scripted. We're kind of getting more into, here we go, man. Our guys got to be ready to adapt, adjust by situation that we're in, down, distance, all that. Coordinators got to be able to think on their feet. But it's football, so that's kind of where we've gone now. That's what we're in. So ought to be good. We'll have a lot of guys out there, limited reps. Some of these guys that are coming back, but it'll be good to have them out there. Questions?
Dan, is there a point in practice where you're kind of like safe to say this is where we should be seeing what you can bring? Or is, I know it continually goes.
What in the world?
Player, like, this is what we expect at this point, and I think myself and the staff has done a really good job. That we make that very clear to our players what we expect and where we think they should be, and where they stand with the other players to an extent, because I want to make sure some of these guys know, look, you're not in right now. You may think you're in, you're not in. And this is why you're not in. This is what we need, because it's not fair to them if you don't give it to them. And it doesn't make it easy.
Interesting.
But it's the right thing to do, and tell them where they can improve, what they can do, and where they stand. And that's all you can ask for.
All right, who's not in? What does he even mean by that? I've never heard Dan say that, and I've never heard Dan give himself a compliment before either. And I'm glad he did, because it's been way, 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 way over-deserved. Who's not in? Now, I didn't catch if he said that they do this every year, that they communicate to the players, throughout training camp to let them kind of know where they stand in this process. There's a couple weeks left. So, there's still time to make an impact over the next couple of preseason games. But that's an interesting take that he's kind of letting guys know where they are and see, hey, do they pick it up? Is this some fringe guys? Is this guys that maybe have been on the roster in the past and they're maybe not in? Huh. Interesting. I love it.
You may not like it, but you can respect it, So I think we've got a number of guys growing. I just love the competitiveness of a lot of these young guys we've got. You just feel like there's a lot of these guys that, man, they may have a chance. And if they do, they may belong, but just because of the nature of the way they're wired and how they compete. But we still got time. We got 2 weeks here, and there's some guys we don't know a lot about, guys that we think we like, but we don't know. They've been hurt or they've been injured or they haven't been put in a certain situation. So it's still going, it's still going.
I was already planning.
Whoa. Why do I have an ad? I'm not supposed to have any ads. What's up with that? Hold on. Let me kill that real quick. We'll come back to that. Man, they have some wild ads. This company that does these ads, they're crazy. Why do I have an ad? I've never had an ad. All right, Dan, get back to it.
I know you talked about you were really looking forward to how many spots and really competition like that, but has it exceeded your expectations all, or kind of where's it at?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if it's exceeded. I know we like the guys that we acquired going into camp that we have on this roster. We like the potential between the youth and the veteran guys that we've got, the skill set, so we had an idea it would be pretty competitive. And then look, that's the mindset too. Like, we don't have time to waste. We can't wait for anybody. We're out to get this job done, and we can't mess around. We're not messing around. So we have to be able to trust you. You got to be dependable. You got to be coachable, and you got to be a competitor, man. Like, you got to be able to line up and go back for the next play, no matter what happened in the last one. So it is competitive, though. We love that, because that's where the cream always rises to the top. You're going to find those guys, and then you'll find the ones that it's just too much. It's hard. and doesn't make them bad people, doesn't make them nothing. It's probably not for you, at least not here, you know?
Howard was one of the guys you shouted out after the game. Just what, I guess, most proud of with the growth that he's shown from the start of training camp to now?
Well, I think, one of the biggest things for him is, he kind of falls into that category. He's got to do everything right because he doesn't have this massive size length, but what he does have is leverage, and he is quick and explosive. So with that, man, some of these, all right, you say, hey, you got one-on-one here versus this guard, and it's 2nd and 9. That suits him well. Okay, now it's 1st and 10. We're going to ask you to play the 3 technique, and they're in a heavy set, right? They got 3 tight ends. There's a good chance you're about to get doubled. That to me is where he's grown the most. His ability to hang in there and fight, and even on movement, make quick moves, penetrate the defense. That's not an easy job. So I like his growth, and then his motor. He's got a motor. He's relentless. He's a competitor. I like the fact that he's got a little chip on his shoulder. He's got something to prove, and I think he feels like he belongs, which he should, and that's all you can ask for. It's not too big for him.
Further down the offensive line depth chart, you brought in Melvin Priestley and moved him from tackle to guard. I don't think he played any of that in college. See him out there in the one-on-ones. He seems to be holding his own pretty continuously. Look, I thought fairly good in the Priestley opener. What have you thought about the way he's handling that transition, and what kind of upside does maybe a player like that have?
Well, he's got a ton of ability, which you just mentioned, because your eyes aren't lying. I mean, he's got heavy hands. He moves well. He can bend. He's got power. And the hardest thing for especially a young guy, plays tackle, okay, guard, and we even tried him a little at center and a couple of practice reps or, teach him a couple, is, man, it's a lot mentally, and so you got to be locked in. And part of that in making it is, we need to see if you can play tackle in this league, guard in this league, right guard in this league, maybe center. And right now it's just, that's it. There's a lot mentally. And for him to take the next step, it's to be able to just lock in. And we would love to just say, just stay at this position and just worry about this right now. And we just can't do that yet, because I do think that would help a little bit, just to take a little off his plate as he grows and then keeps going. But right now we don't have that luxury. So that's the one little thing right now. Once he gets a good grasp of what our communication, where we're going, the targeting, some of that, then he can take off because he's got ability, and he works his tail off. I mean, he practices hard, man. He plays hard.
Challenge flag the other day, I think was you at least. Have you, the NFL has that new rule where you can designate a staff member to do that. Have you thought about that, considered that? What's your...
Thinking about you, Dave. If you'd like to, stand on the sideline, and you got it whenever you want it. No, I'm not giving that flag up to anybody. No way.
Why do you want to keep it? What's the...
The buck stops with me anyway. I'm answering the questions, so why would I give it to somebody else for me to answer for somebody else? It's, it all comes to me anyway, and so yeah, that's it.
We haven't heard much about Levi.
I'll come to you next, Eric.
We haven't heard much about Levi this camp. Where does he stand right now?
Yeah, I like Levi. I feel like Levi's away.
Oh, come on. Why do I have ads? Am I signed into the wrong account? Am I under my management account? This is horse shit. Hold on. This happened on my phone earlier today, too.
Keep it. What's the...
the buck stops with me anyway. I'm answering the questions, so why would I give it to somebody else? Anybody? Thinking about you, Dave.
Have you, the NFL has that new rule where you can designate a staff member to do that. Have you thought about that, considered that? What's your...
Thinking about you, Dave. If you'd like to, stand on the sideline, and you got it whenever you want it. No, I'm not giving that flag up to anybody. No way.
Why do you want to keep it? What's the...
the buck stops with me anyway. I'm answering the questions, so why would I give it to somebody else for me to answer for somebody else? It's, it all comes to me anyway, and so yeah, that's it.
We haven't heard much about Levi.
I'll come to you next, Eric.
We haven't heard much about Levi this camp. Where does he stand right now?
Yeah, I like Levi. I feel like Levi's had a good camp. Levi, as we all know, man, he's coming off a ton of injuries, man, but it's nice to have 2 ACLs. He would tell you that. It helps him move a lot better. He's got a lot more power. And I think that shows up. Like, there's times with Levi, because he's such a strong man. He's a strong human being, powerful, that sometimes he gets real high. He can get a little bit high, and really the last couple of days, that showed up a little bit, man. And so we got to stay with him, stay on him about some of that stuff, because when he plays low, he's a powerful man. Like, he and Lacey are probably 2 of our most powerful D linemen that we have, man. They talk about knockback, and they are hard to move. But I like where Levi's at. I think he's improved a ton. Certainly, he looks the healthiest he's been in a long time. So I like where he's trending.
At the end of,
I know he's no longer. I know he's no longer here, but you did have a relationship with Terrion. Are you surprised that he was able to get an opportunity in Seattle at all?
No, I'm not surprised. Every team's they're gonna do their due diligence, just like we would if we were in their seat, like Seattle or New York or whoever. We would have done the same thing, man. Let's see if we can find out whatever we can. We know that him coming out, he's a good kid. He's got ability. He's got all these. We've seen him on tape. So no, I'm not surprised by that. And look, I have no ill will whatsoever towards Terry. I wish him the best, man, and I wish everything and everyone the best in that whole situation, man. That's it's the best way to put it.
To you personally on that?
No.
I mean, do they?
There's certainly those things come up. I mean, you're going to want to, and it's like we said, Terrion's a good dude, man. He's a good dude, and it's an unfortunate. The whole thing's unfortunate. It really is, but it is what it is. There's no way around it.
you ran several end-of-game situations yesterday. I don't think that's unusual, but it felt like you were more intentional in kind of laying out the purpose of each of those to your guys before they went out and executed. And what were you trying to accomplish yesterday with just the intentionality of some of those situations?
Well, I think it was, those are, we do those in the game every year. We do a lot of them. Those are, okay, now you need a field goal and you need 8 yards with a timeout. Now you have no timeouts, but you got enough time to get the same yardage, get Bates over there, and then we got to run up clock it. It's just kind of those where you hone in on, because those can happen into half and certainly into game. And just making sure we're all on point. We've covered that before. We do those in the walkthroughs like that first week, of practice. And so this was a way to get it full speed. You don't always get them full speed. We tried to. So it was that. And then the one down there at the end was that's the one where you let them score on defense. I hate that one. That is the worst whatsoever. But there is a time and place. It's a chip shot field goal and they can take it all the way down to 10 seconds, you have there's no way you can answer back. It's just the odds are stacked against you. Maybe it's time to let them score. So I just wanted to make sure I talked through that one. And I want our defense to understand, guys, this is the one time, we're going to let them score. Now, if they need a touchdown, we're not doing it. There's no way, man. We're not giving up a touchdown if they need a touchdown to win. I don't care what it is. We're going to hold. But I just hate it because it goes against everything that, you're about. But there is a time and place. I'll make sure I talk through that. We repped it. And the best part of it is, I got guys like there's Saint, there's Goff, and there's Jaw and Sewell and Hutch and Matt, and they're all like, yeah, we got it. We've heard this before, they get it, but it's not for them as much as it is that some of these young guys, new guys, they need to hear it. And so you're talking to the least of all of them, the one who doesn't really know. So anyway, it was good though for us to go through those.
That situation you were talking about where Tyleek kind of lifted up Jameer and they tried to carry him. Can you do that?
No.
Like, is that a point you have to talk about?
No, they were having fun with it. So they know the whole point of it. But yeah, no, you can't get away with that, Now, if the offensive linemen are running behind, even if they're looking like they're trying to grab their own running back to pull them back to them, then yeah, there's a way to, look, it's an art, right? We're not going to work that hard on the art of it. But just so we've covered it.
I get you hard, but that's about it. I help you.
All right, I'm officially pissed off now. Like this is insane. Now I know what y'all go through when you have ads. I mean, I have premium. Well, I guess that was the end. I guess they just cut it off. That was the end. Okay. I guess Dan didn't really confirm a whole lot of what I was hearing. Didn't confirm a whole lot of anything, honestly. But there was a couple of interesting points in there that I wanted to talk about, and it was kind of towards the end there. One of them was about the allowing the other team to score kind of a deal. I don't know how y'all feel about this. You can let me know in the comments and in the chat. I look, if they're up by 10, if a team is up by 10, I didn't know if he said a scenario. I didn't hear a scenario. But if a team is up by 10, you're going back and forth, let's say. The likelihood of that team that's probably going to go and score is great. And they're up by 10, you've got, let's say, 3 minutes. Do you let them run 2 minutes off the clock and go down and score? And then take the risk that they chip an onside kick and they get it? Because then they're only down by 3 and they could chip shot a field goal and tie the game up. So I have to understand the scenario. I really have to understand the scenario that they're talking about with allowing a team to score on you. I mean, look, if I didn't have the comfortable lead, I don't know that I would do that. I'm going to have to re-listen to what he said. Maybe I missed something. But I get what he's saying. Like, I get what he's saying with, there's certain people on the team that understand it. They've been through it. They understand the strategy. Some of the younger fellas, they probably don't. Winning culture, a competitive culture. There's certain guys that don't want to let things happen, right? They don't want that stat against them. They don't want that pass on them. They don't want that TD on. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you got to give in a little bit. And that's why stats will never be more important than the game itself. There's only one stat that matters at the end of the day, and that's the scoreboard. That's it. And I don't care if it says 13-12 all season long. As long as it says 13-12 in the Super Bowl and the Lions win. That's the only stat of all stats that matters. The score. That's it. So under 2 minute situation. Okay. I mean, that makes it even more interesting because if you're under 2, did he give a score? Did he say how much you're up by? Because you have to be up by more than a touchdown, because why would you want to give them a touchdown and tie it up? Or you have to be up by at least 8 because you don't want them to kick or, take the 2-point conversion and then they tie it up. So you would have to be at least up by 9 points, at least. And I would say 10 to 11 makes way more sense. That just doesn't make any sense to me. Okay. So in the beginning, he was talking about, the players and where they stand. And like I said, I was kind of chuckling back here and I'm like, that's a very interesting point, that I think it's kind of cool that he does that and kind of lets these guys know where they are, because, now you might get a different level of a player. If a player's starting to feel a little bit safe, maybe they've been around the team for a while. So why don't we do the exercise? What players do you feel are not safe right now? Which players are not safe? Doesn't necessarily mean that they're not going to make the roster, but what players do you feel are not safe? Let's see if we can get a couple of these that make sense, and I'm sure that there's plenty that makes sense. Let me get the depth chart up. Any of you guys download the depth chart that I threw up in the post, and you guys find that useful? I'll put out another one on Saturday. I'll put out the updated one on Saturday if it even changes. If it doesn't change, I'll just repost the same one. All right. Anybody hear why JMO wasn't at practice? Any news on that? Because I haven't I haven't heard yet. I don't think he has an injury. I'll just say that. I don't think he has an injury. Maybe he wants a new contract. No, I'm just kidding. That would suck, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that suck right now if he wanted a contract? Okay. So who's not safe? Dominic Lovett, he's not safe. Seth McLaughlin, he's not safe. He's officially going to mustard. Dominic Lovett's not safe. Miles Frazier should be good. Ben Bart should be good. Larry Borum should be good. Sam Laporta, Brock Wright should be good. I think Conklin being the vet will be okay. He has a lot of work to do. I mean, Josh Dobbs is good, but the question is between Josh and Luke. I'm not going to put anything over them because I think they're both good. I think we already released Robichaud, so we can get rid of him. He's gone. And we got a couple additions that I got to add to this. All right, so there's really not much on the offense. On the guys, on the top 53. Ennis Rake-straw. Honestly, I feel like he's good, but I have him right now as a wild card because I don't know. I just do. But I think he's going to be fine. There ain't no way they're getting rid of Keith Abney. Not as well as he's been playing. And he really had a good game the other day. Lauren Strickland's gone. See you, buddy. So who do you think on defense is not safe? Because remember, we only get so many guys, right? Man, I didn't get any videos out. I had roster moves. I had injury updates. I had so much crap to get done. Again, nothing done. So we brought in this new corner. I can't even say his first name. Cowboydo. Wow, that's terrible. I just butchered that. I'm sorry, buddy. But anyway, he's a Ghanaian American. So, fun fact, my cousin, my cousin who is well, let's just say military, not military, political, not even really political. Let's just say he's in an alphabet company. He went over to Ghana in the Peace Corps. God, I don't know how many years ago, 30, and was actually given kingship. So he went over there to teach English and math and all sorts of American culture, education stuff. And they gave him a kingship in Ghana, and he sent me one of the drums from that ceremony, one of these little drums. I don't have it anymore. Wish I did. Cool little thing that they make by hand out of like deer hide or, whatever they have over there, whatever antelope, I don't know, whatever they have, whatever animals they have. But it was made out of deer hide. There's even little hair on it still. Anyway, fun fact. Just kind of cool. I've always wanted to visit Ghana. I don't know why. It's third world country, but I just think it'd be fun. Probably because he did it. I don't think Amaris Brown is safe. We'll put him in mustard, but I mean, he was playing okay the other day. Honestly, I think it's along the offensive line that we have a lot more issues right now. I'm going to move to that next. Anthony Lucas, I don't think he's safe. Miles Adams, I don't think he's safe. But here's what just changed. With Lawrence Strickland gone, and he's been around in this offense for a long time, or this defense for a long time. With him gone, that just paved the way for potentially another safety or potentially another player on offense or defense, because I thought for sure he was going to have an opportunity to make this team. He wasn't on my first 53. My official first 53 will come out tomorrow. Camp 53. but he wasn't on the initial because he was in red, or he wasn't even colored. I don't think I put a color on him. I mean, this guy's going to go to immediate red because he is. So that gives Dan Jackson an opportunity right now. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If anyone thinks that Roger McCreary is not going to make this roster, y'all might want to go check. Y'all might want to go check what he did this last Thursday and how well he played. And we're going to talk about Ennis Rake-straw here in a minute, because Ennis brought up some things in his post-media press conference, or his post-practice press conference, or I'm sorry, post-practice media session. And I just started laughing because it's the same crap. It's the same crap that I've been talking about for a while. And unfortunately, he's fallen victim to it now. But I decided I had to laugh. If you know, you know. We'll talk about it in a minute. So who's not on the roster for you guys? Like, who's on the bubble? Lucas has more right to a depth spot than Derek Marr. Ooh, Moore? I don't know about that. Moore hasn't played yet. I don't think that we could punish Moore because of injury. I mean, I think a little bit of, action in a preseason game, I'll never consider that enough. Oh, we know Manu's not good. Rolder? Oof. Me? I got us cutting Rolder? Where did I put that? Where did I have Rolder cut? He's not cut. I said he'd be on a list. He's in red though. He's supposed to be in mustard. I have him going on a list. So he might get IR'd to return. He'll miss the first 4 weeks of the season. Almost guaranteed that's going to happen. I don't think there's enough time for him to get back and then have meaningful snaps to be able to help this team out in the top 53. Now, if he's really close, then yeah, they may just roll with him on the roster and then he just won't play. You'll have, your 5 scratches every game or whatever it is, then he'll be on that list. I'm actually kind of holding out hope right now for Amon O, but the bigger question is, does Eric Hunter leapfrog a vet in Amon O? And I don't know. I don't think so. Amon O played okay the other day, but again, it's just one preseason game. We got to see it over 3 preseason games. We got to hear it in practice. But anyway, let me give you my update of the day. Kind of what I'm hearing, what's happening. So the Lions are getting healthier right now. Obviously, today may have created an even bigger question, I guess, on the offensive line. And like I said earlier, I'm a bit concerned right now with this offensive line because Juice Scruggs, I mean, for all intents and purposes, he looked good, back in the offensive line at center over the last couple of days. So why did the Lions even move Tate Ratledge from right guard to center today? Why did they move Christian Mahogany to the other side of the offensive line at right guard and then put Ben Barch at left guard? That is 3 changes, y'all, to solve 1 injury. And on the other side of the ball, Aiden Hutchinson was unblockable. So that was a huge mistake. And I'm sorry. I feel like if they're doing this stuff just to get these guys reps, that's one thing. But they've talked about putting Tate at center now for 2 seasons, and now they got the dude taking snaps. And I'll give you my take, very similar to J-Rod. Look, I think that when it all boils down to roster construction, the final 53, that's why all of this stuff matters. I do not agree that you put Mahogany at right guard and you put Ben Barch at left guard. If Mahogany is already struggling at some point at left, why would you put him at right? How's that going to make it any better? Get him comfortable. You have Frazier, to play right guard if you really needed him to. Does that mean that Ben Barch potentially is better than Frazier? Does that mean that Ben Barch is better than Mahogany potentially? I don't know. But it's certainly interesting. It's certainly interesting that they're doing this stuff in camp. And I guess at the end of the day, the Lions created a center battle. And so the biggest question is, who should start week 1? Cade Mays was supposed to settle the middle of this offensive line. And instead, he's out with a fractured wrist. Done. Over for several weeks. So with Scruggs out for the first preseason game, Hank Fraley put the next 2 centers up to bat. Seth McLaughlin and Michael Neese. And the questions that I've been getting all weekend are valid. Are the Lions in trouble to start the season? Look, I'm not going to go doom and gloom on y'all, but I think that the offense is going to struggle without Cade Mays no matter what until they can learn how to drink from a fire hose. And I think that the best answer for the Lions starting 5 is simpler than what you may already believe. And I think here's where that decision at center kind of stands right now. The Lions thought that they had the offensive line figured out. You had Penei Sewell at left tackle. You have Christian Mahogany at left guard. You had Cade Mays at center. You had Tate Ratledge at right guard. And then you had Blake Miller at right tackle. Done, right? Easy peasy. No worries. Good to go. Let's get the rookie ready. Let's get Penei Sewell settled in. And we're going to move forward. But that was the group beginning to shape in camp, right? And then that group was really taking shape. And then Mays goes down. And again, just an update, he's expected to miss roughly 8 to 10 weeks. So suddenly, the one position that was supposed to bring some sort of a veteran knowledge into and stability to a very young offensive line is now wide open again. And I think that's where it gets complicated. Replacing Mays isn't just about finding somebody who can snap the football. We witnessed that on Thursday night. It's apparently difficult to snap a football. The center is making the protection calls, right? They're handling all the communication with Jared Goff and the offensive line. And then they're helping to organize everything that's all happening at once. So when Mays went down, the first opportunity went to Seth McLaughlin. And then part of that was also born out of necessity, too. I forget what was going on with Neese, but he wasn't the first go-to. So Juice Scruggs, he was already dealing with a soft tissue injury. And so McLaughlin started getting first-team reps. And then while Scruggs worked to kind of get his way back, he was in several practices. So that gave the staff at least a chance to see if Seth McLaughlin was the one. You know, could he do it? Getting live game reps versus the Bengals last Thursday started the evaluation window. Heading into the second preseason game, I think that picture just changed again. And it's a picture I don't like. Scruggs returned Saturday, right? He began working at center right away with the first offense during the situational period. And then today, Sunday, came the bigger step. The first padded practice. First team offense, Scruggs was in the middle. He was handling it. And then he rotated out. And the staff didn't go back to McLaughlin. Ratledge moved in to the center position from right guard. Mahogany, like I just mentioned a moment ago, and Ben Barch swap spots. Mahogany goes right, Barch goes left. So a bit of a head scratcher for me, but I'll try to explain it, why, I guess, as to what they're doing here and why maybe it'll be okay. So right now there are really 3 options for this job. Maybe 4. You can start Scruggs at center and leave the rest of the offensive line intact. You can continue to develop McLaughlin there if you want to, which they're probably going to do anyway. Or you can move Ratledge to center and create another opening on the offensive line. It is the dumbest move ever, in my opinion. And for me, that's where I have the biggest problem with the entire plan. If I were the GM or the coach, I wouldn't want to create 2 problems trying to solve one. Ratledge is going into year 2. He's fully developed at right guard. He's expected to have a breakout year in his second season. He has never played center ever in his life. He doesn't want to play center. Matter of fact, that sounds familiar, doesn't it? Graham Glasgow was a good old boy, man. He did what he was asked to do, but he didn't want to play center either. He wanted to play guard. He felt like he was better at guard. And the numbers prove that. And to make matters even worse, look, the run blocking is already one of the stronger parts of Tate Ratledge's game. And the entire point of this offseason was to get this young offensive line settled into defined roles. Like, that was the most important step. All right, we got a hodgepodge of guys. We're going to bring in a bunch of competition, and we got to develop the guys that we already have. So why change that? Because one guy goes down. Unless Scruggs shows that he cannot handle the center job, I'm leaving Ratledge where he is. And I'm giving Scruggs every opportunity to win this job. That's what I would do. Scruggs hasn't spent the last 2 weeks building chemistry with Jared Goff. He hasn't been stacking days, stacking in team reps like Mays did. Scruggs is just now taking reps at second team guard mostly today. Getting Ratledge all the center work makes sense because you absolutely need another player ready if something happens during a game, but does that have to be Tate Ratledge? There's also another reason that I'll explain shortly that'll make all this kind of make some sense, but I still don't agree with it. Now, in case of emergency, right, having versatility is the one thing, that you prefer, right? Your starting lineup is something totally different. Goff took 39 sacks last season, the most he's ever taken since coming to Detroit. The offense finished near the bottom of the league in pass block win rate. And so my preferred lineup is the one that requires the fewest moving parts. Penei Sewell stays at left. Ratledge stays at right guard. Mahogany stays at left guard, at least for right now, and Miller stays at right tackle. Unless a player beats them out at that position, that's where you want them. And as far as Juice Scruggs, well, you're the center. Yes, you're going to let Barch continue to, take a position if he can. And that's great competition, and it's fantastic to have your offense ready for the season in that way. But putting Juice Scruggs in the middle, right? Find out whether he can hold that job until Mays returns. The offensive line already has enough change to deal with, and we thought this offseason response was pretty obvious and clear and good all at the same time. Stability above all else was, and to get younger, like to get more athletic, to find a left tackle or give Sewell the left tackle spot and then find a center and then find a right tackle, and that's what they did. Then expect big development from Ratledge. I mean, I think that was, above all else, something that we expected. But Mays going down, man, that really just screwed up this stability, and I feel like they're making it worse. You're shuffling all these positions around. Is it freak out mode? Maybe. But then again, that's why this next preseason game against Washington becomes more important. If Scruggs gets the first team work, then don't just watch whether the snap gets back cleanly. Watch the operation, right? Watch how Scruggs operates in this thing. How quickly is the protection getting set? Is Goff comfortable? Does Goff have a clean pocket? How's the run game? Are there free rushers coming through the A-gaps? There better not be, right? Is the interior getting movement in the run game? Those are all things that I'll look at. How does Scruggs handle communication when Washington starts changing the fronts and then bringing pressure? So that's the evaluation that I think will settle some of this. And I'm hoping that Drew Scruggs pops out and has a really good game. Now, if the offense operates cleanly with him in the middle, then I don't see a reason to start moving Ratledge around. I really don't. And as I said, I would come back to this one point. The reason why Ratledge is getting reps is for two reasons. One, the roster has some really tough cuts coming up. And if Brad and Dan can find some versatility from players like Ratledge, and they feel comfortable with that ahead of cuts, then players like McLaughlin and Neese could be casualties to allow other parts of the roster to gain some depth. And I know that sounds nuts because we're in a sticky situation right now, but do not set your heart on McLaughlin or Neese making this roster. So Ratledge getting reps right now is about experience more than anything. So my starting five as of today will not change unless one of these players starts to beat him in camp. Sewell, Mahogany, Scruggs, Ratledge, and Miller. That's it. Those are your five. Any other alignment, any other thing that we hear in camp, like it's just about getting these guys some reps right now. But I do feel like Scruggs should be in there 90% of the time. And again, I'm not closing the competition down, for depth just after one padded practice or one preseason game. Scruggs still has to earn it, right? McLaughlin still has some reps coming in some very meaningful games. Right now, it's really between Neese and McLaughlin what, really third center the Lions would potentially keep around. And obviously, Ratledge is probably going to get some emergency snaps. So here's the decision for you. If you're setting the offensive line for week 1 today, who are you putting at center and why? And are you moving Ratledge inside just because? Or are you going to leave Scruggs or, Scruggs and the McLaughlin and Neese, to battle it out? I had a lot of messages today, a lot of emails, people, hearing things after practice, asking me all these things like, why are they doing this with Ratledge again? Like, did we not already learn our lesson? And apparently not. Like, Glasgow should have never... Look, I was all for Glasgow being the center. Y'all know that. I figured he would be the best option at center given what we had. But that doesn't mean it made the most sense. It's just the best option, the best of the worst possible situation that we were faced with. Glasgow was it. You didn't have anybody else on that roster that could be as good of a center as Glasgow. And quite honestly, like, his numbers weren't that bad. The whole offense was bad. So the whole offensive line was bad at times. It wasn't just Glasgow. I think it was more the scheme than anything, to be honest with you. Now, Michael Neese. So the other question is, who's Neese? I kept getting that one a lot today. Like, who's this guy Neese? So I'll give you a little update on Neese. Neese was signed to the practice squad. He was signed to the practice squad last year, I believe. And so he made his debut last season in week 11. And that was against Chicago. Neese then signed a reserve futures contract with the Lions on January 30th of 2024. I'm sorry, that was 2 years ago. Excuse me. And then on April 25th, Neese re-signed with the Lions. He was waived on August 26th as part of final roster cuts, and then he re-signed to the practice squad. Neese was then promoted to the active roster on November 15th, ultimately playing some good experience, 8 games for the Lions. So on January 5th of this year, he was signed to another 1-year contract extension, and that's kind of where we're at today. So again, I'm going to say it again. If you're moving Ratledge, tell me who the hell you're putting at right guard, because Mahogany doesn't make much sense over there. Or replacing one injured player, one starter, that's one thing. Changing 2 positions, 3 players, that's just a diabolical move in my opinion. A move that shouldn't happen. So sorry for the long diatribe, but I got all these messages today, and it just, I figured, what the hell? I'll dive in on it because I'm going head first on it anyway. I don't like it, but I understand it. We'll put it that way. I understand it. I understand why Ratledge is over there, but I think it's a bad idea. I think it's a really bad idea. It'd be one thing if Ratledge played center in college, but he didn't. He didn't at all. I don't even think he played center in high school. So, who's your starting 5? Attila, you missed everything. Now, the thing about Seth, man, or yeah, the thing about McLaughlin, like I see that, a lot of people really like McLaughlin, and there was some things about his game the other day that were okay, but I think he needs a lot of time. I think he needs a lot of time, and I think he's too light. He needs another 20 pounds. And look, I'm not going to blame him, just for all the bad snaps in the wet, wet, nasty weather that we had during that game. But those are real situations that you're going to have to learn to play in, right? When the game is on the line, when it's a real live game, like you can't have those exchanges. Now, they're going to happen from time to time. You're going to have a bad snap from time to time. But man, it seemed like it was all over the place. More than once. So anyway, what else happened in camp today? There's some good things that happened in camp today. Let's start with taking a quick break. I'll be right back.
Every day, thousands of people are discovering Uper Lights, Michigan's newest, funnest rock to go find on the shores of the Great Lakes. Don't go out with just any light. Try the Convoy C8 from uperlights.com. It's guaranteed for life, and you'll find all the ones everyone else misses. Quality UV lights that are perfect for Uper Lights with prices starting as low as $20. Please make sure to visit uperlights.com for all your UV flashlight needs with the best guarantees on the market. Just what you wanted and not what you didn't. The best quality, the best guarantees, and the best UV flashlights from uperlights.com.
The season is here, and you want the latest news and rumors on your Detroit Lions. Head to sportspider.com. That's sports, SPYDER.com, where you can get your Lions news and all your sports in one place. Man, this site is packed with your favorite podcasts, live news, articles from local writers, and insiders, all updating in real time. Not just the Lions, every major sports team, including MMA, UFC, and so much more. Don't want to waste time searching? Sign up for free. Create your ultimate sports news hub. You control what hits your feed at SportsSpider, your number one source for all your sports. Visit sportspider.com today, right after the show.
All right, so little review over the last couple of days. To give some credit here to a few of the guys that we were just talking about. Campbell did say that he liked McLaughlin's quickness and his intelligence. So there's that. That was from yesterday. Oh, these damn yawns, man. It's that time. It's that time, like clockwork. Trying to skip down some of my notes today because a lot of it I just kind of covered. Popping out right away, though. I mean, Juice Scruggs taking center snaps. Like, you could see that he was functional. It was different. It felt more right. You have a vet in there, it works. You have someone in there that knows what they're doing. Not to say McLaughlin doesn't, but he's young. There's a huge difference with NFL experience and no NFL experience. And McLaughlin doesn't have much. Very little. Big question mark of the day, where's Jamison Williams? It's like, where's Waldo today? Where's J-Mo today? He practiced on Saturday. He made a big play during the situational period, and then today, missing from practice. I guess we'll wait for Campbell. I didn't hear him say anything in that, in that press conference that alluded to the fact that J-Mo wasn't going to be there. I don't think that there was any obvious injury that came out of Saturday either. I guess the thing to watch out for is he going to be back at practice tomorrow. That'll be the telling sign. Like if J-Mo's, this has kind of been the MO of the Lions recently, where a player's gone missing for several days, Pacheco. He missed 3. And then all of a sudden it's, oh, yeah, he's got a sprained knee. You know, or other players go missing. Oh, yep, they've got a, soft tissue issue. Let's just hope that's not the case for Jameson Williams. Because I think that's their MO. Like, they're going to keep him out of practice, and then they'll answer the questions later. Tay Martin has become a playmaker. He's a player that we're definitely going to talk about. So he did a few things on Thursday. He continued to do as much in practice over the last couple of days. And his story is starting to get interesting. Does he make it over the vet in Cedric Wilson? Maybe. Maybe not. We'll find out. I think the Lions are getting really close to having to keep 6 receivers this year. And the biggest question that's left for him is not so much can he catch the ball, can he run routes, it's can he block, right? Can he cover kicks? Can he, become a gunner? Like what can he do outside of the receiver room on special teams? So those are things to look at if you're going to practice. Watch Tay Martin, see what they have him involved in and see where his play develops. Aiden Hutchinson. Look, this guy's been a problem over the last couple of days. Not one good rep, not one clean sack. A problem all day. Like all day. So Hutch wants it this year, man. And he's fully healthy. So he's coming off a really solid season where he wasn't fully healthy. And you've heard Ali McNeil already, say that, look, I'm a different man this year because I got both legs. Aiden has both his legs back too. And so having both those players playing at a high level right now is going to be insane to watch. Hutch, he was rushing from all different sides. He won with power. He won with movement. He got in the backfield over and over and over, and I think that's exactly what you want to see, from a leader on this team, from someone that's healthy, that's finally putting everything in the past and moving forward to this year. He's not just being a participator in practice. Like, he's being really disruptive right now. And that's just going to help everybody in the offensive line get better, too. Derek Moore was back in pads today. So that was good news. He missed almost 2 weeks with a groin injury. And, already seen it moving around a little bit. So he gets a sack beating Brock Wright today. Good news for Derek Moore. Checking in. Glad to see he's back to himself. Let's see. They used him in a different way today, too, which I can't wait to see this in practice. I really wish I would have been able to go today. They moved him inside as a linebacker. That's kind of interesting. Threatening different gaps. They were moving him all over the place. And so that's also been happening with the linebackers. I mean, they've been moving guys in and out and all over the place. Our defense is going to be so confusing and chaotic. Like, I don't even know how I'm going to call a play anymore because of what these guys are going to do this year. I'd rather not know. Like, I'd rather just be sitting there watching the game, watching it happen, versus saying, okay, I know what's happening here. Because if I can do that, you better believe the defense or the offense can do that too. Eric Hunter got some interior pressure today. The Lions defense has been showing multiple rushers around the line of scrimmage, and that's what Calvin Shepard wants, is to, not really tell the quarterback, what's happening before the pressure is coming. And that has been one of my biggest keys all offseason. As I mentioned early in the offseason, that there's going to be a new defense, and now we're going to see free rushers coming from everywhere. And we're going to manufacture the free rushers. So making the offense kind of sort it out after the ball is snapped is exactly what they've been doing in practice. And one that's good work for Jared Goff to have to deal with that, because that is honestly one of Jared Goff's weaknesses. Just like a lot of quarterbacks, though. Let me make that point clear. Post-snap rotations, post-snap pressure changes are really difficult to handle. And that is exactly why Calvin Shepard, in my opinion, is going to this style of a defense, because he doesn't want things to be easy. He doesn't want to say, you know what, we're coming. You know where we're coming from. You got to stop us. We used to hear that all the time. Dan Campbell says that all the time. You still got to stop us. And I get it. Like, that's the man, inside you saying, stop me, right? I'm going right. I'm going to drive the ball right here. Stop me. I'm going to pull up and shoot right there. Stop me. Michael Jordan was the best at doing that. And that's what the Lions are doing right now. Different stuff. They're making the defense different. They're making the defense really hard to figure out. So, next up, let's talk about Ahmed Hassani and Gil Howard. So, both of these guys are no longer just wish it would have happened, because Ahmed Hassani had a 2-sack game against Cincinnati. Skylar Gil Howard has been flashing for days, but now he's getting to a flash point, and today it kept going. He's getting better and better and better, and they're both showing up in the run fits, and that is exactly where I expected Gil Howard to have some strength in the beginning. One, they're going to use his speed, right, and then they're going to work into combining all this into pressure. So both of these guys, they're starting to get rotational reps with the first-team defense, and that is a major development for Skylar Gil Howard. Yet again, another player that fans, for whatever reason, thought that Brad Holmes wasted our time with. Not me. I got him right in for an interview because I could see that film had something special to it. But that's the coaching staff, man. That's them seeing that, hey, we've got a guy that can do different things. We've seen you beat the back end, of an offense before. Let's do it again. Let's find different ways to do it. So now they're starting to put these guys in positions to win. Will they actually be on the field in September? Oh, yeah. I think they both will. That's how you know that the evolution of this defense has changed. That's how you know that the defense overall is changing, because these body types, it's not something that we've had really before. Like, I'm not saying we haven't had a 280-pounder, but we haven't had a 280-pounder that could run 4.63. You guys remember the guy that I wanted? I wanted Uwar Bernard, that has never played any real football before, but he was 300 pounds. He ran a 4.63, and he was built like a tank. And all you have to do is tell him to go rush the quarterback. Give him one job for the next couple of years, and then he'll get it, and we'll see where that develops. Skylar Gil Howard kind of ended up fitting that bill because we got a guy that's big, who's fast, and he's smart, and he loves football. Like that, he doesn't care about playing special teams. He embodies it. He wants to do it. So I'm looking forward to both those guys. Ahmed Hassani is probably going to have a breakout year this year. Question to you guys. Do you think it's even possible, if Ahmed Hassani gets the snaps that I hope he gets, does he beat Aiden in sacks? Think it's possible? It'd be interesting. And I think they're both going to make it interesting. But Ahmed Hassani has a real chance to do something great this year. And he's going to benefit from Aiden. He's going to benefit from Tyleik Williams and Ali McNeil. I was surprised to hear Dan Campbell mention Levi Onwuzurike today, because he's been quiet. He's been quiet almost all camp. We haven't heard much. And now I'm beginning to wonder, because I'm not there, and I get bits and pieces from people that I know, but no one's talking about Levi. Nobody. And Dan's saying that he's had a really good camp. So why is that? Are we just cherry picking now? Are we cherry picking our players that we're going to talk about and feed it to the masses? Because you don't want them to think that Levi Onwuzurike has the potential to make this roster. Levi Onwuzurike has a potential to have a good season as a rotational defensive tackle. Y'all know how I feel about Levi. I think he belongs on this roster. And as long as he stays healthy and he continues to be who he was in 2024, he's going to be on this roster. And I thought it was really interesting, too. I mean, like, Dan respects the hell out of Levi, and he is a strong dude. Like, I watched some film today of Levi by accident because I was pulling down some other things, creating some graphics, and he popped up. And I just watched it for a minute. How impressive he is when he's healthy. I hope we get that this year because it's impressive. And that means that from line to line, your first, your second, your third line, there's not going to be a drop-off with Levi in the game. There won't be. And then, again, some teams and against, some situations, it could be an elevation that Levi's playing better. It may suit his game better, depending on the matchup, depending on his opponent that he's having to face the most on the offensive line. He plays better against certain people. Everybody does. He plays better against a certain body type. And I think what Dan Campbell said today with him having a little bit of high pads, right? He comes up, gets too tall, using his strength too much, where, maybe it's carrying him up a little bit as opposed to down. Certain players are going to benefit him. So a little bit of a taller offensive lineman, I don't know if they match these guys up like that. I haven't been into a war room, but in the NFL to where they talk about defensive strategy. But there has to be some sort of a strategy where you try to match your guys up, with the best guys. Best opportunity. Hey, if this guy has high pads, put Levi with him. He has some high pads at times too. He's going to play better. I'm excited about the guy. Nick Whiteside. Let's talk about Nick. He's another name that we kind of need an answer on, right? Nick Whiteside didn't practice today. What's going on there? That really got my attention because of how well he's been playing through camp. And then we signed a corner that I can't even pronounce his name. Not even a try. And he's been taking first team reps. He's been taking the football away. He's been a lightning bolt. He was really physical on Saturday. So today he's absent. And no public explanation. Same thing for JMO. No public explanation. Waiting on information. Absolutely disheartening if something happened to one or both of these guys. So first thing I'm looking for tomorrow's evening practice is what is that 4:30 or 5 p.m. press conference going to say? Who's coming back? Right? Good news is the Lions have a lot of guys on the field right now that can play ball. DJ Reed is back and working as the number one corner. That was a huge development. Malcolm Rodriguez is back working, on the defense. So really, really, really good developments right now. Derek Moore is back. Juice Scruggs is back. Sione Vaki is getting more involved day by day. Jabari Small is back. Jackson Meeks is now back after missing Saturday. Devin Cochran is at least working his way back through some individual periods. And then Jimmy Rolder is finally doing some work, real training work and running again. So where I had him on a list, we'll see how he progresses. But that progression may not be enough to where they have to put him down. And again, it doesn't mean that any of these guys are roster healthy. All right? It doesn't mean any of that. But we just had a ton of injuries. We had the fan freakout moment of the week last week, and a lot of these guys are coming back. The injury list is starting to kindly move it's starting to finally move in both directions. Players coming out, players coming back. We also made 4 roster moves today. Running back Travion Williams is officially in. Cornerback Ikobo. I'm just gonna have to ask for the spelling. Hold on. I'm just gonna have to do it. How do I say this word? How do I say this? Anyway, while I'm waiting on that, Kai Robichaud was waived with an injury designation after the foot injury, which sucks because, I mean, like Dan straight up jinxed this kid. He just said the other day how much he loved Kai Robichaud and how durable Kai Robichaud has been. And then he gets a foot injury. Come on, bro. Like, seriously? Lauren Strickland was also waived injured after getting hurt against Cincinnati. So the Williams signing makes sense with Kai Robichaud gone. Pacheco's still out. Sailors is now dealing with an ankle. And again, we don't know what's going on with Jameson Williams. He's MIA. That's huge. It's huge for me. Eco Boy Doey. Ecoy Boy Doey. Ecoy Boy Dois. Eco Boy Doey. I mean, I can't say it. Boydo. 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 We'll just call him Boydo. Sorry, Boydo. Special teams. Sione Vaki is continuing to work with his way back. That'll be a big sign for special teams because I think that's where he's going to excel this year. And I really want to see him with a rock in his hand and see if he still has that same slipperiness and pop that he has shown us the last couple of seasons as a running back. He was averaging more than 5 yards a carry. And again, if this offensive line gets its act together and we have a dominant offensive line this year, which I'm beginning to worry about, then I think he'll be just fine. Greg Dortch also had a really smart return rep today. And when he fielded the kick near the sideline, so switching to special teams, by the way, when he fielded the kick near the sideline, putting his foot out of bounds, by rule, Detroit gets the ball to 40. So super smart play by him to catch the ball with a foot out of bounds. He didn't use his athleticism that time, right? He just knows the rule book, right? He knows how to get something out of nothing. Those are the types of plays that I'm looking for players this year, just like the pass interference stuff. You know, we have to figure out a way to get more pass interference. And the other night in the preseason game, when we had a pass interference called against the defense, I mean, I about lost it live. Like, I couldn't believe it. It just doesn't happen. Now, it was preseason, so come the regular season, those refs are going to tuck those flags right back where the sun don't shine, and we're never going to see any of them. So at the end of the day, kind of here's where we stand tonight. Look, we're getting healthier. The center job is confusing as all get out, and what I said earlier is complicated. Scruggs looks like the clean answer. He does. The Lions are still testing like this is some laboratory, putting Tate Ratledge in there to give them another combo or another option up front in case we suffer another injury. I understand that, but just leave Ratledge the hell alone. And I understand why they're doing it. Like I said earlier, there's too many good football players on this roster right now that they need to find a way to gain another spot. And the best way to gain another spot is if you have guys that can play multiple positions. Then you can gain another spot somewhere else on this roster. One of the players I forgot to mention today, Isaac Tesla. So there's been a lot of conversation about Isaac Tesla and having a slow start and this, that, and the other thing. Look, I hope he has a banger of a game on Saturday. But man, did he really stand out today with a huge contested catch between, I think it was Rake-straw and Harp. Rake-straw and Harp. Huge catch. So that's really it, man. That's really where we stand. It's really where we stand right now. We're getting healthier. Some guys are coming back. Center is a nightmare for me because I don't want to see Ratledge over there. I don't want to see Ratledge doing something that here's my real gripe with it. Like, I don't want to see Ratledge doing something that he's not comfortable with. Taking on a Lee McNeil. Right? Taking on Tyleik Williams. When you're not comfortable. So I hope that they're smart enough, which they are, to not put up anybody over Tate Routledge. Let him get the snaps. Let him get the fundamentals down. But you start putting a Aleem over top of him, he's going to end up getting hurt. Right now, he's trying to think too much because he's trying to think how to be a center. You don't usually play well when you think. You play much better when you turn it off and you just play. When you can do that, man, you're going to have the best games of your life. And Tate was finally getting to that point at the right guard spot where he could just shut it off and just play. That's my biggest gripe of the day, man. Sorry. I've been kind of animated lately. Thanks, Cynthia. One more thing, though. We got to go through Rake-straw. Got to go through Rake-straw. We got to end with some funnies today. At least. Put your hand up in the chat. Did you guys already watch Rake-straw's presser or his media availability? Because then you probably already know what I'm going to talk about. There we go. Better not get any stupid ads.
What does it feel to be out here specifically today, given, just the kind of scare that you faced the other night?
It feels good to be back, It's just a contusion, so I'm good. Yeah. I'm out here the next practice, putting hands on people. It's just part of the game. I just got to stay healthy. That's it.
Does that, just the emotions of that moment, though. How much fear do you have to deal with? And then the sense of relief when, you get checked out and process it and realize it is just a contusion.
I already kind of knew it was a contusion, but, they got to go through tests regardless to see what it is. And then the test came back negative. Just a good sigh of relief, I prayed. I ain't never think I wasn't going to play again. I feel like it was a contusion, so I'm just happy to be right.
Do you feel like that's a reflection of the work you put in, though, to make sure your body was right and could maybe handle a little bit more? We talked about this a little bit, just the upper body work you've kind of put in. Do you think that was, maybe helpful in this situation?
Yeah, big back, got to bring him down somehow. Just the nature of the game. It's part of the business. If I didn't make the tackle, he probably would have scored. So sometimes you got to throw your body in there. That's what I signed up for.
It's the worst part of it, that you didn't get the full workload that you thought maybe you were going to get that day?
Yeah, but, another preseason game coming up, just the thing I do out here is stack days get better. I had some up and down moments. Now I'm just trying to stay here.
When you process the film from that one, what did you like about the performance? What did you want to tighten up for the upcoming week?
I think I had one man rep with a catch was an out route. Other than that, it was like zones. I just hate how PFF did me, but it is what it is. They don't know what they're talking about anyway. They couldn't even tell me what coverage he was in. But like I said, I just got to get better. We all go get better and just get ready for the next game.
That's it right there. Hold on.
They couldn't even tell me what coverage he was in, but it was like zones. I just hate how PFF did me, but it is what it is. They don't know what they're talking about anyway. They couldn't even tell me what coverage he was in. But like I said, I just got to get better. We all go get better and just get ready for the next game.
How do you feel at this point?
Oh, I love it, man. How many players have you heard call out PFF? I'm crying now. How many players have you heard call out PFF? Hardly any. And Rake took the rake to him, man. He took the rake to him. Couldn't even tell me what coverage I was in. They don't even know what they're talking about over there. It is so accurate. Look, I loved PFF when I first started getting into this. And even before that, like before I started to do research, before I started to educate myself more about what was really going on with the NFL, and then I quickly realized, well, shit, everything is about fantasy football. They're trying to sell you fantasy football. So they're trying to sell you all these stats to think that you're going to get smarter about football, to go place bets that you're going to lose so that the NFL can laugh the whole way to the bank, right? If we ever find out that the NFL is getting a cut off of all these bets, I wouldn't be surprised at all. So that's what all those stat companies are all about. Now, there's very few that are really good. There's very few, and Sports Info Solutions is one of them. I just have to figure out, are they tracking live stats this year for the NFL? I can't remember, because last year when we did this with them, it was during the draft. The season was over. So he's not lying, though. But the one thing that I'm surprised that nobody questioned him on, and it's maybe because they don't think like me, and maybe they didn't watch the film, a couple of times on Rake, like we did here live. The problem is the way that he tackled. That's the problem. It wasn't that he tried to tackle. It wasn't that he tried to stop the running back. It's the way that he tackled. You can't go up to meet a running back head on and then turn to the inside. You can't do that. Your body's on the outside. You can't turn to the inside. You still have to try to somehow get that right shoulder into him. It'd be best that you go this way, right? Not turn. That's what screwed him up. Now, had he tried to turn the other way, he could have missed the tackle. But you know what? He wouldn't have been injured either. And it's a freaking preseason game, Rake. Nobody cares if he scored. What they care about is that you're healthy and that you made the right decision, because you do that crap against Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley or Christian McCaffrey, yeah, you're probably not getting up. Right? You're not getting up. Let's go back to Rake.
Campbell, what was maybe the main focus this offseason for you?
Get to this point, get to a preseason game. Last year, my goal when I stepped on this year was to make it through day one, because I got hurt day one. Then make it to the first preseason game. I made it through. People thought I didn't, but I made it through the first preseason game. So I just keep checking the small boxes every day, and everything will come by what it's supposed to come out to.
Another box to check. It's been some fun, healthy competition with JMO out here, with you guys going one-on-one. Just can you take us inside that competition between the two of you and how you make each other better?
He told me something that he seen while he was beating me, and I appreciated it. And then when I went to him again, I changed it up and see, that's why I dabbed him up after the play that went viral. I'm like, okay, so finally he taught me what I need to do, and then today had some good reps. It's just all them guys good. J-Mo, Saint, they top for a reason. So they go get paid theirs, and it's just my turn to get paid mine. That's it.
How rare is that invaluable to get that kind of information from somebody like them?
I feel like we all want everybody to get better, and we all just want to stack days and win. So anybody help anybody. In the DB room, when we watch it together, they DJ, Rock, Whiteside, Adme, everybody got feedback, and coaches. So we just trying to make everybody better at the end of the day. That's all we can do.
You talked about that J-Mo feedback. Was that earlier in camp, or was that earlier today?
No, that was early in camp. That was the right after the punch out, and then after the punch out play, he was like the play before that, I knew you was gonna lock your hips. I was like, how you know? And then he told me, I ain't gonna say it on camera, but he told me. I said, okay, bet. So then the next day we came, and then he ran that route, and I was on it. I dabbed him up. I was like, I see what you're talking about. I appreciate it.
This is the Spencer talk. Does it seem like early on he was winning a lot of those sleds, and then now as camp's progressing, you're not giving up?
Yeah, it just he taught me what he found my kryptonite, so I had to change it.
You mentioned the PFF, but I mean, the coaches' evaluation. What were the things that they said were good, and what did they say that you needed to work on coming out of the game?
I say on that one play on that third down, that was probably my biggest play that I felt bad about, because my leverage, I should have just stayed to the outside. I was too high and shoulders was too tall. So that's the technique thing, Because just got to fix the little technique issues. All that PFF stuff, man, they got it. Cool, y'all grade how y'all want to grade, but it is what it is. I'm just here to do what I got to do, and whatever the play tells me to do, that's what I'm going to do.
What did they say, though, that was encouraging, what they liked?
They liked how I played. I came up, a lot of people talk about shoulders. I made a couple tackles in the game, so I'm not scared to throw it up in there, and that's what we all about. DBs that can tackle, run and hit.
I guess, in general, how do you take something, the snaps that you did get and apply them to training camp? How do you go about doing that, I guess, going forward?
Another opportunity, next game, next practice. That's all I can do.
Are you talking about learning from J-Mo in practice? You got a chance to go out there against Chase and Higgins there too. What can you take away from that? Seeing their main guys out there.
St. Brown and J-Mo release is probably top tier. And a lot of people in the league is, but when you go versus them every day, it kind of give you confidence to go versus other people. And then when you see what they do, okay, I seen Saint do this before, I seen J-Mo do that. That's what it really helped when you got guys like them two here. Not just them guys, Tesla, you got Laporta, all of them, they do what they got to do.
Because of, the black preseason experience last year, was it good to get as many opportunities, to play plays, having them, target receivers that you're recovering, was good?
Yeah, I was anxious, to be honest, because, I ain't played football in almost a year and something, almost two, so I was kind of anxious going out there. And then when the bullets got to flying and everything, I'm like, okay, I'm back in football, I'm finally in football. So it was my first time being in real football, guys. So jitters out, next game.
Well, who do you think, just working on something else, but out of all the players on the team, who do you think is primed for a big season?
J-Mo. Yeah, I would say J-Mo, man, like, sky's the limit. J-Mo stay what he doing right here. He gonna be what we all believe he is and what he know he is.
Just based on
everything. Like every day, like he stack days every day.
Mm-hmm.
He come out here, he compete. He talk trash to make you mad. That makes you compete harder. That's a leader.
You know, a big judge that.
Yeah.
All right, a couple things firing off in the chat here about Rake. Let me give you guys a couple of points here about Rake. Look, I get it. He looks skinny. I've even commented on it a couple of times that he was really light, you know, kind of being Polish when I first met him. But that was 2 years ago when I first met him. And he's totally changed his body. I mean, he's not going to, it's almost impossible to gain weight for some of these guys. Like J-Mo, really tough for him to gain weight. But J-Mo's smaller than Rake-straw. Like J-Mo is like 2 inches taller than Rake and like 10, 12, 15 pounds lighter. So if J-Mo can take it, Rake can take it. But even more important than that, some of the best corners in the league are not like these massive guys. Sauce Gardner, 6'3", 190. Right? So he's really tall and really thin at 190. Patrick Surtain is probably one of the most well put together corners in the league. 6'2", 202. He's probably one of the most well put together corners in the league. Even Derek Stingley Jr., he's 6 foot 190. Christian Gonzalez, so doubling back. Christian Gonzalez is probably one of the most well put together corners in the league at 6'1", 205. There's a reason, and I'll never understand this. Look, I know the players that we wanted out of that draft, but I still can't believe we didn't get Gonzalez or a Patrick Surtain or a Devin Witherspoon ever. Like, can't pass up on those players anymore, Brad. Just can't. Trent McDuffie's 5'11", 193. Devon Witherspoon's 5'10", 185. It's kind of small. Ennis Rake-straw is 5'11", 192. So he's kind of right in that sweet spot. He's not massive. Most corners aren't. He's a lot bigger than he looks on camera. You know how they say, like, the camera adds 10 pounds? For some reason, for football players, it, like, takes away 10 pounds. They look smaller on camera than they really are in real person. And trust me, I've met a lot of them in real person, and I understand it. I've met a ton of football players in my life, and their size is just insane. And it goes the other way, too, because some of these guys look a lot bigger on camera than what they are, or on the field during a game than what they are. But it's pretty impressive when you see some of these guys. They're just not really big humans. But that's where they're smart. That's where their technique is good. I mean, they understand the game of football. They have other intangible qualities. They have other reasons that makes them special. And it may not just be their size, right? It could be their speed. Could be their vision. It could be their anticipation. All sorts of things, right? There's all sorts of things. I'm not sure what makes Rake-straw special yet. Other than, I think he definitely has that grimy, gritty attitude and tenacity on the field. That I do see. He definitely has that. But don't count this guy out, man. Like, I'm not counting him out. Ain't no way I'm going to count him out. You have to remember, too, like, he's in his real first year of football. He just said it himself. He hasn't played football in a while. That first game the other night, that was his first game in 2 years. He hasn't played in a long time. And I'll never forget, like, we could go back and watch the first game that he got in. I really liked him when he got in. He was God, what game was that? Because someone came out and he got in for like 3 or 4 snaps. And he took someone's sideline. Like, he walked him all the way over to the sideline. Very physical, very aggressive. And when he latches on, usually you don't get off. Yeah, he was being Polish, J-Rod. He was when I first met him. He was real, and so was J-Mo. J-Mo was like a toothpick. It was like a toothpick. But they'll. So Mr. Thomas says Rake-straw's shoulders are small. I mean they kind of look small on camera, but I promise you, so does this guy that's on camera right now. Those shoulders don't look big. They don't look big at all. And does he have spiders on, or he has spiders on, man. I don't think he has full pads on. Let me see. Yeah, I think he had spiders on. I mean, all spider. I can't tell for sure, but I think he did. All spiders do is cover the vital areas, man. That's all they do. They're really minimal, lightweight pads. Because they're not really made for contact. Shoulders, ribs, obviously your helmet. That's about really all it's protecting. Liver, kidney area. That's about it. Depending on if you're wearing the girdle or, depending on what you wear. I mean, even non-quarterbacks wear girdle. At least that's what we used to call it. We used to wear those full slip-on things. We had pads everywhere that we'd wear underneath our pads. Those are just starting to come out too. Just starting. I mean, what the pads that I wore in high school, looked like I was Chris Spielman out there. They're massive. Definitely didn't care about sizing you up right back when I played. Anyway, let's not worry about Rake just yet. He's got some time, man. I think he's going to be all right. And at the end of the day, he's a second-round pick. I think he's got a lot further to drop down before I think we need to be concerned about where he's going. Look, let's look at the roster real quick. I don't think that there's really many guys that can jump him right now. So, and that's the other thing, like Roger McCreary. I don't know why people are saying that Roger McCreary wasn't good enough to make the roster. He's our starting nickel right now. Christian Izzian is our backup. Why would someone leave Roger McCreary off their 53-man right now? That doesn't make any sense to me. It just further tells me that some people just maybe don't understand what the Lions are doing with defense. So Roger McCreary not on a list right now for this roster it's catastrophic. Even though I've even said, look, he hasn't done anything in camp. He's been very quiet in camp. And then he pops out on Thursday and has a really good game. So he's a player, man. Like what did I say during the game? He was a shower, not a grower or something, or grower, not a shower. That just might be McCreary. He just might be a grower, man. He plays big in camp. Or he plays big in practice, not in camp. Or, God dang it, plays big in the game, not in camp. Who's the corner we just got from the Chiefs? Yeah, that Boydo guy. Boydo. Let's look him up. Before we do, though, yeah, DJ Reed, he's locked. Rocky Sin, he's locked. McCreary's locked. Whiteside's locked. Keith Abney's locked. Chuck Clark is locked. And Avonte Maddox is locked. And Christian Izzian's locked in that DB room. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 8. with 2 injuries to Branch and Kirby, most likely not going to be back for the beginning of the season. We don't know about Kirby yet. That's 8. And then you have Ennis Rake-straw, Khalil Dorsey, Thomas Harper, Amaris Brown, Dan Jackson, Ryan Cooper. Let me get this guy's name so I can throw him in the depth chart. Right here. Eco Boydo. Oh, I already got him in there. So with losing Strickland today, Rake-straw's in. And he was probably in before, but I put him behind Abney. So even that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 11. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to keep 11. But then again, this is where, like I was saying with Ratledge, if they feel comfortable with Ratledge at center, then Seth McLaughlin or Michael Neese is gone, and that's going to open up a roster spot if they feel like they need to go into the season with 11 DBs. And when you're playing more nickel, you kind of need more DBs because now you have a starting nickel if you're running a lot more nickel. So that changes the math on everything. And so that now you're looking for players that are two-way players. Right? So DJ Reed, Rockyasin, they're not two-way players. But McCreary is. Izian's also a safety. So like Izian can go back here in Brian Branch's spot behind Avonte Maddox. Right here. We'll put him in dark purple or something as a double up. Dorsey is definitely a special teamer. Harper's definitely not going anywhere. And there's no way Whiteside's going anywhere. Or Abney. They've been playing too well. In camp and in the game. But I'm almost positive that Brian Branch here. Let me just move these guys now. I'm going to move Brian Branch and Kirby to the back of the room. And we'll put them in. Oh, I'm running out of colors. We'll put them in orange, I guess. They're going to be on a list. Here, let's just go through all the list guys real quick. Who's all going to be on a list? Jimmy Rolder, he might be on a list. Let's just extend this whole thing. All right. So, I think I'm off one. I'll fix it later. So this is going to be my injury list. Injury list area. We'll put all these guys in the same color. I don't know why my lines are all jacked up. Let's just fix it all real quick. All right, so if all those guys are here, I'll make this cut list, and I'll make this, or we'll make this practice squad. And then we'll do cut. All right, I'll come back to this. I'll finish it up. It'll come out tomorrow with my next 53, or my official first 53. Can't 53. I mean, there's a lot of like, to your point, Superintendent says, I'd be surprised if Turner doesn't make it. Real long arms that make those cross-cut moves awesome. The problem with Turner right now is he's not playing. And so I think with that whole thing, he makes a list. I've said this before, and I'll continue to say it every year. I think that there are, players that Dan and Brad have identified every year that they have relationships with, or they're going to build a relationship with, and they say, and look, I'm speculating, I don't know this for a fact, but it kind of makes sense. It bears fruit every year. Look, man, we want to have you in. We want you to come in and compete. We would love for you to earn a spot on the roster. But if you're not healthy and we've got to carry you through camp, or we'll be more than happy to put you on a list if you're willing to stick around and you'd like to play for us this year. Obviously, there's got to be a lot more things that happen, right? There has to be a lot more, a lot more confidence with that player. And so I would say a player like Peyton Turner that could get healthy throughout the season and is there, just in case. Look, I'd rather he not play at all unless he's healthy and he's on the 53. But if he's not healthy and you can stash him and you have to put him down for a little bit, so be it. And I think that they have relationships with these guys. And that's why when you get into the 53-man roster at the end of the season, you have to be a little bit savvy enough to know who those players could potentially be. And that it doesn't take much work, to really understand that, okay, this player's a vet. And more than likely, that player's probably not going to make another team. So why wouldn't they just have the handshake deal? And they get to play for a team that could potentially compete for a Super Bowl. They're still going to get a ring. Like, even if they're on the practice squad, they still get a ring. And you didn't earn it, but you still got the ring at the end of the day. So I feel like there's a handful of those players on this list, on this roster, they could end up being saved for later. Look, they should know better than anybody how many players get injured every year. They absolutely know. And so when you go to construct your roster every year and you're bringing guys in on free agency, it's having those conversations to say, look, you may not have a chance to make this roster, but we have a spot for you that is super important, and it's just going to occupy a list for us. And if we need you, we need you. So don't be surprised if there's a couple of good names. That's why I said, like, for Jimmy Rolder, like, if he can't make it up, it's not the end of the day. Like, tell me, how many linebackers do you really think we're going to keep? You have DJ Wanham, Derek Barnes, Jack Campbell, Malcolm Rodriguez, Devin White, and Damone Clark and Trevor Nowaski. All solid players. Trevor Nowaski is the only one that might be on the bubble. Joe Bocci's on the bubble. Amin O just got here. He's on the bubble. Eric Hunter is making his way up. You know, he's been making some plays, but he's got a long way to go. And there is the potential that he does get snaked by another team that might need to sign somebody depending on the health of their team. A lot of teams are injured right now. And they may only snake him and they only got to keep him for a few weeks and then that's it. And then you can walk away from him. So, and he won't cost much. I go through that exercise every year and I feel like I do pretty well. Pretty accurate by following the same patterns that I've always followed. Now, I will say that in the past it was a little bit easier, but it's getting increasingly more difficult because Dan doesn't wear his heart on his sleeve anymore. He really doesn't. That's all I got for today, man. It was kind of a lot longer show than anticipated. I didn't even think I was going to make it through the show. I feel like crap, but yeah, Edge, I don't know what's going on with him either, man. He's had this back tightness, back issue for a while. Appreciate all the gifts that were just sent. J-Rod and whoever else sent them. Thank you. Mr. Thomas, as far as Brian Branch is considered, the last most credible information that we've had is that Dan Campbell said probably 3 weeks ago that Brian Branch was on a plan to potentially come back at the end of training camp. And then possibly the first week. But he followed that up with, if he doesn't make the first week, I don't know, how do you say it? The first week is a bonus. He said that about Kirby. But if he doesn't make the first week, or, if Brian Branch can't get up that early, like, it's not the end of the day. He said the same thing about Kirby. Later that he felt like maybe Kirby was on the Brian Branch plan, if you will. And then just a week ago, it changed again. That they still feel that Kirby's on Brian Branch plan, but it doesn't seem like they're in a rush to get Branch back. And it doesn't make any sense. There's been no setbacks. And I've said it. I'll repeat myself again. What's his name? Oh my God, what's his name? Jones, quarterback. Daniel Jones. He was injured like the same week. And so is Patrick Mahomes. And both those guys are playing right now. So if they're playing and they're older, which means rehab would have been harder, how are they playing but Branch is not? That doesn't make any sense to me. Unless his injury was much worse, which I don't think that it was. So it's confusing. Or is it? Or is it part of the plan? Is it part of the plan that you're going to stash these guys and just allow them to get super healthy and then bring them in when you finally need them? And you're going to go out there and try to win some games with these guys and try to get through the bye week. And then you'll see these guys back. I'll put a stake in the ground right now that if Brian Branch does not get activated before next week, then he will be activated. He'll be activated week 5. Because, you have to sit out. No, he's on NFI, so I think he can come back anytime. So that saves them 2 roster spots too. You realize that, right? Like when you're on NFI, here, let me just get you the exact term. Oh. Okay, so when you're on NFI, if the player is still hurt and remains on NFI when the roster cuts happen, then they move to reserve NFI. The player moves from active NFI to reserve NFI. They have to miss the first 4 weeks of the regular season, and they do not count against the 53. So keeping those two players on NFI right now avoids them from having to utilize their 2 IR designations to return. So then that means 2 other players on this roster that they feel great about, maybe a little banged up, or maybe they just happen to get banged up next week. They ended up going on the IR to return list. That saves them roster spots. So the IR to return rules, thought it changed this year, so I want to look it up. If you're placed on IR before cuts, you have to miss the entire season. If you're placed on IR with the exemption, the 2-player exemption, then if a team puts a player on the IR during training camp or the preseason before the final cut day, then that player is stuck on IR for the rest of the year. They cannot practice, player be designated to return later, right? However, there is a 2-player roster exemption. The new NFL rules allow teams to place up to 2 players on IR directly on final roster cutdown day. I think that rule has been in place for a while, or at least the last few seasons, and still designate them to return. It eliminates the need for teams to play roster gymnastics, meaning they no longer have to cut a healthy, vested veteran on a handshake agreement just to hoard an injured player on the 53-man roster. So these 2 players immediately count towards the team's maximum of 8 total IR returns for the regular season. And just like the regular season IR, these 2 players must sit out a minimum of 4 games. So right now you have 4 players that you can legit see on these lists. You have Kirby and Branch. That won't count. They won't count towards the IR. They won't count towards the roster. Nothing. And then if there's 2 other players right now, it would be the potential for Jimmy Rolder if, in fact, he doesn't get up and back in time. And I don't know of anybody else that's really suffering a long-term injury right now. I think that Giovanni Manu, I would be surprised if they used IR to return with him. With the fact that they haven't done an injury settlement already, that's kind of weird. That's kind of weird. So there could be that potential that they do IR settlement with, or IR to return with him. Which I would be surprised because he has not developed yet. He's missed way too much time. He's missing yet again another whole, another whole developmental piece of his program. But anyway, so there you go. That's my spiel on that for now. Derek Moore is back, Art. He was back today. He returned on Saturday. He missed almost 2 weeks, man. Almost 2 weeks. And I think he got a sack today, too. I don't know if they're going to do that, Edge. I don't even know if they can do that. Because I think that Gio's still under contract anyway. Levi wasn't under contract. That was his last year. And if I remember correctly, So they got an extra freebie year out of them by doing it that way. So, all right, now I'm out of here. You guys have been great. Hope you all have the rest of your Sunday night goes well. We'll see those of you that are going to be at practice for the last 2 practice events for Lions Loyal members tomorrow night. And then again on Wednesday. We'll see you there. Otherwise, I'll be giving you some pop-ups in the meantime and try to get a few things done tomorrow morning. And that's it. Adios.